Okay, all set up here. Alrighty. Hello, everybody. Today we're going to be doing a waxed cord multi-strand bracelet. This one is new to me, and I thought it was kind of cool, so I wanted to share it with you. It's super easy. I'll walk you through all the steps, which really aren't many. And I have made some kits up. I think I've got about 15, 16 kits, and quite a few of those are already spoken for. So I'm going to show you the different color cords and the beads that I'm using. Supplies are minimal. You need a little lighter. It could be any kind of lighter like this. This is pretty safe, so as long as you use it properly. A pair of scissors and a bead mat and your beads. So let's get started. All right, I'm just making sure I'm coordinated with my laptop because I like to see if I'm in the frame. Sometimes I'm not. Okay. Hi there. Hi, Kim. Hi, Carol. Hi, Suzanne. Hi, Mary. Okay. Okay. So I'm going to turn the camera down and show you some of the ones that I've done so far. And I'm using waxed, I guess it's Brazilian waxed bead cord. And it comes in several different shades. Hi, Donna. These are the ones that I bought, and that will be available in the kit. You know, you can choose whichever color you want. So I'll show you that. It doesn't say like how thick this is. It just says how long the strands are. But it's just a twisted waxed cord, and it feels a little bit weird. I mean, it's waxy, and you do get a little bit of that wax residue on your fingers while you're working. But if you can get past that, it's no big deal. But some people have problems with textures and different things, so just want to throw that out there, that there is wax on these cords. And here we go. All right. Hi, Kim. Is the cord 3-ply or 4-ply? Let me see. It doesn't say, but it looks like if you twist it, it looks like it's just 2-ply. Because when you twist it, only 2 strands come out like that. I don't know if you can see that, but it's 2 strands. Okay. All right. Okay, so I made a couple, or I made these in the different colors. This is the natural color here. You can barely see it against that bead mat, but that's the natural color, I guess, or like a cream or off-white, that kind of color, which I think is pretty. This is the light brown, but I also mixed a strand of the cream color, the blue, and the light brown in there just to be different. And this is the all turquoisey one. That's the cord for that. And this is like a reddish brown in here. And I mixed, I put a different color closure on each of them. You don't have to do that, but that's just what I did. Okay, so they're simple in the fact that uh, once you make them, you just open them up like that and put your hand in. And I use my finger on this hand to kind of help pull the uh, the bracelet closed. So yeah, I mean, there's lots of choices as far as the colors go. These beads, uh, most of these beads I got when I was in Tucson. These multicolored ones. I wish I would have bought more. I only bought a few strands, so I did stretch these out with some other beads that I have and some spacers that I have. So uh, there's lots of options as far as materials that you can use or beads that you could use. This is be a good orphan bead bracelet too. If you just have loose beads that you don't really know what to do with, you have a bunch of them or whatever, you can make them into these little bracelets. This is one I am going to tie together today that I made. This is with the dark chocolate brown uh, cord, which I think is very nice. It looks like it's black in the picture that I put up on in the group page, but it's really like a dark chocolate brown. So that's kind of pretty. Also, I wanted to show you, uh, Kathy asked if all the beads are glass. Yes, they are. Um, yes, they are. There's a few beads in the kit, a few spacers that are metal, uh, but in the kits, I put a fairly generous mix of beads. There's probably enough to make two bracelets out of. Um, so you can choose whichever beads are in there to use. So, and you can even add some of your own if you have some favorites. So there's some check glass in here. Uh, the spacers and the seed beads, those are glass. Okay. All right. Also, I wanted to say that you can make neat necklaces with this too. And I made a few of them, um, but I had to stop or I was going to run out of beads for kits. Um, but these are the long versions of the bracelet. They're not exactly the same way, but they're kind of fun. I really like them. I made three of them so I could stagger the lengths when I wear them. So I thought that was kind of cool. So that's another option. But I'm not making necklace kits. I just don't have enough beads, or I would because I've got plenty of cord. So I'm going to stick some extra cord in the kit so then you can kind of play with whatever's left and make some stuff with that. Okay, so I showed you the 4 samples that I made. And what we're going to do, I have a handout as always that will explain everything too, and you can always rewatch this demo. But what I will do is, let's see, what color didn't I make? I guess I pretty much made them all. All right. Hi, Amy. I hope you're feeling better, my dear. I should have a kit for you if you want. All right, let's do, well, I guess it doesn't really matter. I'll do an all blue one because I did turquoise on the other. Thank you, Donna. My hand is much better. Um, I don't know what I did, but I always seem to hurt myself that way, where I don't know what I did. Sometimes I do, but a lot of times I have problems when I'm opening jars that are tough. And you would think that I would learn after all this time that if I can't just easily open it, I have to get a jar opener or have my husband do it or whatever instead of just, cranking at it. And because I've hurt myself many times doing that, and it's just the weirdest thing. and it lasts for about a week. But this last time I was a little concerned because I've got a couple ganglion cysts in this hand, and I was reading about that they can rupture, and I thought, well, maybe that's what happened because I couldn't feel them. I couldn't locate them on my arm, my hand, and my wrist because I was so swollen. So, that's why I went to the doctor. Otherwise, I would have just waited it out. Iced and ibuprofen is usually the answer. Okay, thanks for asking. Okay. All right, so I'm going to cut three 12-inch lengths of the um, of the cord. I'm going to turn the camera down. And I'm going to cut three 12-inch lengths. Make sure that you have nice, sharp scissors when you are cutting the cord because uh, the cord can fray very easily and it's very frustrating. All right, so I've got three 12-inch, and then I'm going to make two 9-inch. Same color. And then I'll need one more 9-inch, and I'm going to do a different color for that one. Let's see. I guess I'm going to do this reddish brown, a 9-inch in the reddish brown. So those are my cord colors. Hi, Wendy. Okay. All right, so my beads, I've got my beads here. And I'm going to, you lose about 2 inches by making all the knots, and that's why I made the cord 12 inches. So that way it's plenty big because you're going to need a little leftover when you're tying it off. So I'm going to start about maybe 2.5 inches down, 2 or 3 inches, and just make an overhand knot and just pull that knot tight. And when you're using the beads or when you're selecting your beads, make sure that you have some 8/0 beads to start off with to put next to the knots, because otherwise if you have larger holed beads, they're going to slip right through the knot and you don't want that. So I'm going to slip on an 8/0, and this is totally your own creation of what you slide onto the cord. Whatever you have in your bead assortment, you you can put whatever you want, and you can make them in units, um, closely knotted together if you have a lot of beads, or you can have that space, which I kind of like the space. It makes the bracelet look a little bit different. Um, just gives it a different look, and I have usually go in about 4 units, 3 or 4 units per strand of beads. And also, a good point is to remember how they're going to lay when they're all together on your wrist. So you might not necessarily want 2 big bulgy beads next to each other on the strand. You might want to alternate so you have some space between the knots. So say they're going to nest a little bit nicer. It's not imperative, it's just a design choice if you want to consider that. So you might want to just lay out your beads and kind of play around with them a little bit before you start stringing. All right, so I put on an 8/0 bead right next to the knot, and then I'm going to put a spacer. And I have these little, gosh, I forgot what they were called. I don't know if they're wheels I don't think they're wheels. They kind of look like a donut, but they're pretty flat. But they're Mayuki beads, I believe. They're either Mayuki or Toho. And I'm going to just use these as spacers. Now, when you're threading these on, the beads that I chose have a large enough hole for this thread to go through. Not all beads have the hole that will accommodate this thread. So you have to keep that in mind. Sometimes they're a little tight. Some of the beads that are in the kit might be a little bit tight, but all you have to do is just twist the end of that cord along the twist of it. Make sure you're going in the right direction of the twist, and then it will, with the wax on there, it will um, be easier for it to pass through the bead. All right, so this is just random. Now I'm going to take a 6/0 next to that, and I'll take one of these colorful beads, and then I'm going to put another spacer bead. It's all random. It's not planned. This is just merely to show you how I put this together. I'm going to take another 6/0, pass that through, put another little spacer on, and then I'll finish with another 8/0 seed bead because that's going to be next to the knot. Now you're just tying, so that's one unit right there. So you're just tying a simple overhand knot, and you want to get as close to the bead, that end bead, as possible. Kind of scooch this knot close to the bead. If you're a little bit far away, you can actually pull it down. The waxed cord is a little um, more slippery, and it just will kind of move down a little bit with a little bit of coaxing from your fingers. All right, so that's one unit on there. Then I'm going to give it maybe an inch of space and then tie another knot. So that way you see about an inch of cord. I really like this wax cord. I have never worked with it before, and I have a feeling I'm going to be using this a lot more. Okay, so now I need another 8/0, but I'm going to go in a different color. I'm using primarily a turquoise blue and kind of a Picasso beigey color. And I'm going to use one of these metal spacers. You might recognize these little triangle spacers if you bought one of my kits a while back. I had a bunch of those in the kit. And I had a lot left over, so I decided to use some of these in this kit. All right, and then let's see. I think I'll put a small turquoise bead and another little donut spacer. That's what they look like to me, but there's probably a name. I just don't know it offhand. And then one of these check beads. And then I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. That would be a donut. It might be a wheel. It might be a wheel bead. Put that on there. And a 8/0. And then another metal spacer. So I like to make them symmetrical if I can. And then through. So that'll be the second unit. Maybe it needs to be a little closer. Scooch that knot down and then pull tight. So that's the second unit right there. All right. I'll go about an inch again. But you can vary the length of cord between your bead units. It's whatever you want to do. Put the 8/0 next to the knot. And then I'll use another donut. And then I'm going to use one of these long cylinders. Like I said, I wish I would have got more of these. I thought these were so cool. But when I was seeing them, when I saw them at the show, I had no idea what I was going to do with them. All I know is that I liked them, and they came in some different shapes. But had I thought about a project like this, I would have bought a few more strands for sure. Okay. I'm going to tie the knot. All right. Oh, I could actually mix it with the brown. That would be kind of cool. Maybe I should do another strand in a different color, just for the heck of it. Maybe this, I'll do this reddish brown. I like that. Change of plans. All right. That way it'll be a multicolor, multi-strand bracelet. Just make sure you leave enough at the end there. All right, so this is going to be, I'm going to go ahead and use that one so it'll save some time. This end, I'll start with an 8/0 bead. Gotta twist that end a little bit. Like I said, sometimes when you cut them, the fibers separate a little bit. Mary, what was the name of the company? That I bought these from? If that's what you mean, this is from the Beadsmith, and you could probably do a search online and find places that carry them, if that's what you mean. I was going to actually, I had a different project in mind for doing kits. When I was at the Tucson Gem Show, and I was at the Beadsmith booth, they had some new beads that were coming out, and it was on this waxed cord, and the beads are check beads, but they've been back ordered since the show, and they said they probably won't get them until mid-June. So I was very disappointed with that because I check back with them every week to see if they'd come in, and they never had. So I just decided to go with these beads that I had bought at the show. So that was disappointing. All right. I think I'll use another. All right, so I put the 8/0 on here. I'm going to put a 6/0 seed bead on next to that. And then I'm going to use a metal spacer and put on, let's see, one of these beads there, metal spacer, a 6/0 bead, and then another 8/0 on there. Tie that knot. Scooch it down. So that's another unit right there. Okay. All right, then I will, let's see, where am I at here? Tie another knot. I like to alternate the colors somewhat, but like I said before, you do whatever uh, strikes your fancy as far as the design element. All right. And here, I think I'm going to put, I have another check bead here. Put that on. Oh, they're a little tiny, teeny tiny. So, like I said, you could put either a lot of beads on or a little. And the very first one I made, I put a lot on, and I thought after a while I looked at it and I thought, no, I kind of like to see the cord a little bit more. So maybe a little bit less units of beads. Okay, so that's the second one. And then we'll put it all together. It's a defective one. You don't find those too often in the Mayuki beads. All right, let's see. I guess I'll put another metal spacer on since I have it. I might make this one a little bit longer. Put one of these, one of these. One of those. It's just random. Oh, I'll put one of these on here. Oh, I'll put another spacer in between. Okay, let's see. Another blue. And a metal spacer. Donut. And an 8/0. Boy, that's actually kind of long. But that's okay. That works. Okay, so I'll tie my knot there. Okay, so I've got my 3 strands. And well, now that I did my 3 strands in different colors, I may want the tie strings a different color too, or maybe not. I don't know. It shouldn't be that big of a decision. Anyway, I guess I'll go ahead with the blue since that's what I was going to start off with. Okay, so now we're going to go to the 9-inch pieces. And at the end of the 3 strands, you're going to take that 9-inch piece. Let's make sure I'm in the frame here. You're going to take that 9-inch piece and slip it underneath all 3 cords. Okay, slip it under all 3 cords, and then you're just going to tie an overhand knot. But when you're doing so, try to make the ends about the same, that you have enough cord on both sides, about the same amount of length, like this. Okay, because that's going to be the tie part around your wrist. And I'm going to make a double knot. So one more time around there. And just pull it tight. Okay, can you see that? So these two are going to be the bracelet part that goes around your wrist. Now these 3, the excess here, I'm going to snip this off. This is kind of cool. So I'm going to snip this off to about, oh, I'd say between 1/8 and 1/4 of an inch. All 3 of those. Just make sure that you snip the right ones. And then I'm going to take my little lighter. Hopefully you can see this okay. I'm going to take my little lighter here and I'm going to burn, and it melts the wax. Okay, so I'm going to burn this off and then tap it with the end of the lighter to melt those cords together so they're on there, they're not going to go anywhere. Okay, now I'm going to do that on the other side too. Take my strand, my 9-inch piece. Following me? Get it? All right. And I'm going to tie this knot here. Overhand knot. Make sure you get all 3 cords. Try to keep the cord lengths even as much as you can. Make a double knot. Pull it tight. Then grab my 3 shorter cords. Snip these off. That might be a little bit too long. You don't want to get too close because then as you are melting these cords, you might be into the knot a little bit. So you want to make sure you leave a little bit, but not too much. And melt these. And then give it a little tap to flatten that out. And those are all together now. Okay. So a strange, kind of a strange thing that I saw was, since these are twisted, you want to wrap the two cords to make them one. So you twist the way the twist goes on the cord. You twist them and hold on to the one and twist the other cord. Same thing. Twist, twist, twist. Then grab both of the cords by the end and raise your bracelet, and then they twist together like that. And then I just give them a little extra twist together. So now both of those strands have become one. Okay. It's a little weird, and the first few I did, I kind of struggled with it. So it might take you a little bit of practice to get that twist right. So I'm twisting and twisting the second cord, and then grab the two cords by the end and then let it twirl, and then those wrap around. I watched some other demos of people doing this, and some had a lot better success than I've had, but it still works. All right, so now those two strands are together, and now we're ready to close it up. So you're going to take, oh, these are coming apart already. So you're going to overlap the two cords, and now we're going to make our square knots with the third 9-inch piece. It's more than you need for sure, but that's what the instructions said, so that's what I did. So I'm putting the cord underneath the two cords that are overlapped. And this always gets me, okay? So I may screw this up, but it is repairable. So I'm going to start by looping over my cord over the two cords, and then this side I'm going to go under the two cords, and then I'm going to pull. Okay, so now this side I'm going to go over the two cords, and this side I'm going under the two cords and through the loop and through the loop. Oh, pulled a little too tight. And that makes an over or a square knot. Go back. Look at this. Go under with this. Go through with this. And pull it up. Four or five of these is plenty. If you get into it and you want to do more, go right ahead. See, these strands are coming apart. Okay, so I'll do one more, just for the heck of it. Over, under, through this loop. I put in the handout a photograph of this process. I found it on Pinterest, I think, but I did not find the author of it. So I'm sorry that I can't give that person credit for whoever posted that, but it's kind of a nice visual. Okay, so now you've got to disconnect these two strands. All right, and that's the same thing. I'm going to burn them, melt the wax, and I'm going to cut about 1/4 inch on there. catch it on fire. Just be careful. Okay, and now the ends, I'm just going to knot them. Put a knot on the end. Pull it tight. Snip off the excess. Get both of those cords. And that's that. It's pretty easy peasy. Now you can play around with this as far as how long you want your little uh, cords to be on the side. If you want them shorter, you can cut the strings a little shorter, but keep in mind that you have to pass that through the wide part of your hand. So if you're, unless you have a little teeny hand, which I don't, you want to keep that in mind so you can put them, slip them on and off without uh, problem. Now, maybe you could twist that underneath. I don't know. Kind of tuck it under there if you don't like those strings hanging. I don't know if they'd stay, but I suppose that's an option. Yeah, it is sweet, Suzanne. I think they're they're cute. You know, maybe several years ago I wouldn't have thought so, but I do now. I think they're they are very cute. And I notice a lot of people. Uh, I notice a lot of people wearing small, skinny little corded bracelets, which, like I said, I had never really gotten into, but um, they're neat. They're neat. They're easy. These are lightweight. You could probably put a few of them on if you wanted to do that, but you know, there's lots of choices, and you can use any beads really. Um, I just thought that these were cute beads. Anyway, and the necklace is really fun because you can make it as long as you want. It doesn't need a clasp. You could put one on if you wanted, but I just took, let's see, it's not that noticeable where I joined them together. Here it is right here. I just put the knot right there and then I melted it and I could just slip that over my head. It doesn't worry. I mean, that's the nice thing that I like about necklaces like this is you don't have to put a clasp on them. You can make them, you know, several different lengths, whatever. And this is, I think this is the brown cord, I guess, the light brown cord. But I thought those were fun. Yeah, I think they're very cool looking, you know. Or you could make like a really long one and then wrap it around a few times if you wanted to do that too. But it's also fun to, have the different lengths. So anyway, that's it. As far as uh, constructing these, you can play this demo over and over again if you want. Usually, you see it one time, you kind of get it because it's not difficult. It's just a matter of getting your cords and your beads and figuring out how you want to design it. So if you ordered a kit, and I don't mean to be pushing them, because if you want one, fine. If you don't, you can probably put your own stuff together. Um, but I was giving you the choice of choosing your own cord color because I have so much of the cord that it's really not a big deal to me to make it whatever color you want. So just let me know. Okay. Oh, hi, Carol. Oh, you're quite welcome, Kim. It's just fun. It's nice to find something different to do that's easy, that you can use a lot of the stuff you already have. I don't know. Yeah, Suzanne, that is probably a great project for you and your grandkids. I think it's a real, I think that they might like tinier beads. I think, younger kids like the tiny beads as, compared to bigger things like that. But yeah, I think it's a great project for them. All right. I don't know what I'm going to do in 2 weeks, but I have gotten interested in making a terrarium, and I've been reading about them. And I made a terrarium, I think, in the 70s. They were the rage then, and they've come back, I guess. Or maybe they never went away. I don't know. But I had bought uh, these large jars for flour and sugar and stuff. I've got like 3 of them in my kitchen. And one of them I haven't been using. And I thought, maybe I'll make a terrarium out of that. So I ordered some supplies on Amazon and I should be getting them tomorrow. So if you're interested in watching me construct mine, I probably will do it on Thursday because, I can't wait. So if you want to watch, I'll just announce beforehand when I'm going to come on and do it. We're also having some plumbing work done on Thursday. So it may or may not work out. I'm not sure. Uh, but I guess I'm just easily amused. I like different things. And when I made the one in the 70s, my grandpa, my old Italian grandpa, used to make his own wine at his house. And we lived next door to them when we first got married. And he had these I think they're 5-gallon jugs, glass jugs that he used to pour the wine in after he made it. And he gave me and my sister one, and we made terrariums out of them. And you lay it on their side, and you have all these plants in there. It was pretty cool, but it was also obnoxiously big. So this jar that I'm going to use is not quite that large, but I thought it'd be cute on the dining room table. Maybe, I don't know. But I get these wild hairs every now and then that I have to try doing something different. So if you want to watch me do it, I'm doing it blindly, basically. But, I'll be doing that probably on Thursday, so I'll let you know. So if you have other suggestions for me doing demos, don't hesitate to give me some suggestions. I'm always looking for something different to do and to present to you. So if, like I said, if you ordered a kit, let me know what color cord you want. If you don't, I'll just pick out what I think I like. What I know I like. There were a few people that didn't get back to me as far as if they wanted the kit. They mentioned had interest in it. Uh, but if I don't hear back, then I'll take whoever's next who wants them. So, all right, you guys, take care. I always enjoy you being here with me, and we'll see you next time. Bye bye.